Hi, it's Kristy, Guidepost to Wellness. I know it's been a little while, folks. Thought I would give everybody a little bit of an update. Well, my my mother got really sick in January, and it's been a little while. She's had her ups and downs, and I've been pretty much a remote caregiver, but from the perspective of I took care of all of her, emotional needs, financial needs, and went to visit her frequently and everything like that. So, and my mom and I were very, very close. We weren't always that way, that's for sure. But I lost her a few weeks ago. I've been trying to get myself ready to make the video, but because I did want to share, I think it's really important to recognize the effects of grief on your health and on your wellness and everything. So it's really hard to know how you're going to handle grief. And I have my good moments and I have my bad ones. And I've been putting off making this video because I didn't think I was quite ready for it. And I guess I'm not quite ready for it, but I think it's still important to understand and share. So, when we talk about wellness and we talk about the four pillars, and when you're experiencing grief of a loved one, that stuff's going to go out the window. I know that after um, I found out, I mean, I knew my mom was sick, and I'm not really sure which is more detrimental to your health, the longer term effects of chronic stress, like I was going through. I know in the last year plus, with the levels of stress that I've been under, trying to support my mother and working and doing all the normal life events that I've put on weight. My cortisol levels have been going up. My fatigue levels have been very high. I just haven't felt my best emotionally, and I managed it okay. I was doing a lot of the right things, but I wasn't in optimal health, and I think that is really hard to do to manage things of that nature. So, and I know that folks that have had a really sudden death and that severe type of stress response can be very severe as well. I don't have any experience with that myself, and I'd love to hear from anybody out there. Please put your comments down below if you can share your experiences with the different types of grief and in which you found to be more stressful on your wellness. But when we look at the four pillars of wellness, it's really important to understand that during grief, you're going to need the extra support to maintain your health and wellness. You're allow yourself the time to grieve. Granted, most of our businesses and society will give you 3 days off for funeral leave and expect you to come back to work and act like nothing's really happened. And that's not the case. It impacts us for quite a while. It impacts our memory and it impacts our ability to concentrate and things like that that can make work very challenging. And that's why going back to those four foundations and doing the best that you can with your support network to keep those pillars of wellness as steady as you can. Sleep can be really hard. I know that right after my mom died and I went down and I had a lot of things to do to close out her apartment and all of those arrangements and things that had to be made, I didn't sleep real well. I did get some drinks with some melatonin in them. I tried a couple different things. I had a glass of wine with dinner, but really it was sleep when I was able, and I recognize that, and I recognize the last few weeks I've been taking a lot more naps than I normally do because I am just emotionally drained and tired, even from as long as the last year, let alone her recent passing. And nourishment, that's one of the areas that's a personal challenge for me, as I can be a stress eater. I wish my appetite would just turn off, but instead I crave those things that aren't always the most nourishing for our bodies, but do give us that increase in serotonin and that feel good, um, which are going to be the carbohydrates and the sweets and things. When my sister called me I guess she's my father's daughter. And so when she called and I told her what was going on, and we talked for a little while, and she asked how I was doing. And I said, well, when I get to her apartment, I'm going to do what any self-respecting woman would do that just lost her mother. I'm going to have some pasta, some ice cream, and a glass of wine. And I did, and I didn't beat myself up about it. I still managed to eat many healthy things during the time period, but I did have my cravings, and I did allow myself those things at times. I think the key is to hopefully have some support network that can help make sure that you have food available. That when you're hungry, making sure that you eat. Though at times you may feel like you're gagging it down, you may lose your taste for it, any number of those things. So try to plan in those types of situations and keep healthier foods around. And again, do the best that you can with that, and don't beat yourself up about it if you do eat things that aren't going to be as nourishing for your body. But recognize the more of those things that you eat, the more physical discomfort and challenges you could have as well, because that's the one of the things that happen when it comes is down to movement and keeping active and things. That was very challenging. One is your fatigue increases, your pain levels increase, because when you feel those levels of emotional pain, it does make you hurt. When you don't sleep, that can cause more pain levels, and you don't feel like moving. Or even in my case, I actually had to move furniture and clear out an apartment, carry boxes, and I was going, to the point of making myself very, very tired and sore from that perspective as well. So just recognize that, try to keep moving gently, try to keep some semblance of routine in your life, and in the hopes to keep that portion of the foundation strong. And then stress management. Well, that part again, if you're as blessed as I am to have a support network of friends and my husband and my brother and family members that I can talk with, that's important. Recognizing there's going to be times that you're not going to want to talk about it. Recognizing that you're going to need to roll with the grief, just like I did at the beginning of this video. It comes and goes at the oddest times. The other night I was washing dishes, just tears pouring down my face. Sometimes I find that I'm a doer, so if I can keep busy, that helps me keep occupied. So maybe my mind won't focus on things quite as much. But you'll find that there are going to be times when it's just going to hit you out of the blue, and you have to ride those waves as hard as it can be. So when it comes to stress management, it's really important to be gentle with yourself. Allow yourself the time to grieve. Don't put yourself on a timeline. Um, but again, as soon as you can get yourself back into more of your normal life routines, which could be very, very difficult if the loved one that you lost lived with you. I can't imagine how challenging that could be if I have to experience that. I know how challenging it's been to lose just a pet that was a fixture in my life. I can't imagine losing someone that I live with. But it is a circle of life, and it is something that all of us generally have to deal with at some point or another in our lives. So um, just realize that it's important to get back into the healthy routines that you have as quickly as possible. Stay hydrated. Even if you don't feel like drinking, make sure that you drink. Move as much as you can, because even just the movement can help make you more physically tired to help you sleep. It can help with the aches and pains. It can be a form of meditation or mindfulness that'll help with the stress response. It'll be something that can be familiar. All those types of things that can help you with your grief. Try to surround yourself with healthy food options, but don't beat yourself up if you do crave something. You need some pasta, or you need something sweet to kind of give you that momentary serotonin pleasure in the mouth, going to the brain a little bit. It's okay. anything's okay that you're going through right now. It's all a part of the grieving process. Now, obviously, if you are feeling any darker type of feelings, or the grief goes on and it's really interfering with your ability to move on with your life, then I would absolutely encourage you to get some professional support. It's been just a couple of weeks since I lost my mom, so I think at this point I'm probably fairly normal in working through my grief stages and responses. And like I said, I've had some wonderful help. Karis, the service, the hospice service that helped my mom, they sent this wonderful little pamphlet that talked about things with grief. And even though I'd lost my dad before, it can just help to read some of those things again. All the tips that they give you are just really, really good tips to let you know that you're not alone. You're going through something that's very human and very real. It still validates everything. So any of those types of things that you do are going to help you with your grief. Grief is a process. I'm finding that as I prepare to memorialize my mother, writing her obituary was very helpful to me. Looking through old pictures, we're doing a memorial later. I have found that I like some private time to grieve, and then by getting together later and doing more of a celebration of life, I can be happier and in their memory. So that's something that we did with my father, and that's what we're going to do with my mother. And that I think is something that she would appreciate, having us remember the joyous things and the wonderful things about her life, and not just focus on the last few weeks, months, years, or the part where she was older and frailer and all those types of things. So I would love to hear from anybody out there that's experienced grief and the things that they went through. How did they help maintain as much of their health as they could? How did they roll with the changes? How did they experience their grief physically? And any tips and things that you can share that will help me as I go through this process, and as I work on regaining my balance and regaining my balance in my health, and getting back into my practice, and getting back into publishing my videos. I have a lot of great ideas and programs, but getting that momentum and motivation back to be able to do that with all of the subscribers out there. Any bit of that would be wonderful. So thank you so much for listening, and I'm working on it. I'm working on coming back. Thank you.